I think what we saw happen yesterday when the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Mohammed bin Zayed, went to Saudi Arabia, met with Mohammed bin Salman, his counterpart, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and they declared unilaterally or perhaps bilaterally the new Saudi Emirati Coordination Council. Not only do we have to get used to a new acronym, SEC, S-E-C-C, I think that probably signifies the formal ending of any lingering hopes that, as Ambassador Patterson said, the GCC could be anything other than an entity that's more or less finished. I think we have seen attempts over the past year, led by the Kuwaitis within the region, supported of course by the Omanis and the Qataris, to try to find a solution to this crisis that somehow manages to not only get all the parties back around the table, but preserves those 4 decades of common interest that have been built up. Unfortunately, if one looks at this crisis from a negative towards the GCC point of view, one would conclude that at every stage of this crisis, the GCC has been completely absent. The initial grievances that built up, that were then communicated, or that then at least came out into the open on June the 5th last year, were not done so through any GCC mechanism. The list of demands, the 13 demands, which are almost so maximalist as to be absurd. What we've seen in the past in the Gulf is that organizations and entities don't often get wound up formally in a blaze of publicity. They just become more irrelevant to the point of just being totally forgotten. An example would be Petromin, which for many years was a larger Saudi oil company than Aramco. And Petromin effectively ceased to exist around the early 1990s after the Gulf War, but was only formally wound up in about 2005. But by that point, it had ceased to exist as a meaningful entity. And I fear that's what we may begin to see now from the GCC. It's very clear that there's a new axis in Gulf politics that runs from Riyadh to Abu Dhabi, and that the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed and Mohammed bin Salman are the new power players in the Gulf, and that this new coordination grouping is as much exclusionary as it was the GCC was inclusionary. There's certainly, I think, no appetite from the Kuwaitis or the Omanis, least of all from the Qataris, to be a part of it. One wonders what the Bahrainis think, because they're nominally part of the quartet, but seem to be completely overlooked in this new coordination council, or committee, or whatever they call it. But it's exclusionary, and it will only widen further the cracks that have appeared within the Gulf. I was about to say within the GCC, but I'm not sure we can say that anymore.